Now this takes us to the other group of plants. We mentioned the gymnosperms. I'm looking for objective 7, where it says list and describe the significant difference between the two major types of seed plants. We talked about gymnosperms, so we're continuing it now talking about angiosperms. We're also going to address objective 9, list and describe the two major classes of flowering plants. Now, angiosperms are flowering plants, and this is the most successful group of plants. There's around 240,000 species. They have eggs or ovules that are enclosed within diploid tissues. There's two classes of them. There's the monocotyledons or monocots and the eudicotyledons or eudicots. You may have learned them in high school as dicots. They have one cotyledon in the seed, and a cotyledon is a seed leaf. The eudicots have two cotyledons in the seed. Now, they have flowers. They're flowering plants, and they're going to have I'm going to jump ahead a few slides so that I can actually show you this as I talk about it. You can see here this flower. The peduncle is the stalk of the flower, and at the tip of it, it expands, and you can see it in the middle flower. It expands into a receptacle, and in that receptacle, you're going to have sepals, which are the little green leaves that surround the flower bud. You're going to have stamen, which is the male gametophyte, and you're going to have carpels, and the carpel is the female gametophyte. And they're all going to be attached to this receptacle here in whorls. The collection of sepals that are in that receptacle are called a calyx, and the petals we call the corolla. Now the stamen, if we look at it specifically up here on the top left, it's got two parts. It has the anther on the tip and then the stalk that's called the filament. The carpel over here has the base, which is swollen, that is called the ovary, and inside the ovary you have the ovules. That's what becomes the seeds, and that ovary will ripen and become the fruit. So when you eat a peach, you're eating a ripened ovary. And then above this ovary you have a stalk that's called the style, and then on the tip of it is a stigma, and it's very sticky. That's so that the pollen grains will stick to it, and then they'll grow a pollen tube down here to the ovules and fertilize them. You have a lot of diversity in your flowers. They don't all look the same. And the life cycle of the flower, let's start over here in the sporophyte generation on the left. You see the seed and how the ovary is around it, and it ripens and becomes the fruit. And you plant that seed and it develops into the plant that has the flowers. That gametophyte generation, the pollen sac of the anther makes the microspores that then become the pollen grains, and the ovules make the megaspores that then become the ovules. And when that sperm and that pollen lands on the stigma, it grows a pollen tube down here into the ovary, into this area where the ovule is, and it fertilizes it. And then you got the zygote here in the seed.